Is INJ ready for $100? I will be providing you guys with an update on the INJ chart, and I will be giving you guys a beautiful potential trade setup that is currently developing on the INJ chart. When we look at the chart, we can see that over here we have established a beautiful range on INJ, in which we have pivot number 1 at the beginning of this impulse, pivot number 2 at the end of this impulse towards the upside, and pivot number 3 at the end of the first correctional wave. And we even have a beautiful 4th pivot over here as well. So we have identified the pivots for the range, and we know that for a range we need at least 3 pivots, either 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top, or 2 at the top and 1 at the bottom. Now, quite interesting over here, when we look at the range levels, is that the range levels are getting respected beautifully. So over here, the quarterly level, resistance and support, resistance, 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 the mid-range, support, support, huge resistance, huge support, support, right? Quarterly level, support, support, right? So besides the pivots, when you establish a range, also the range levels need to get respected. Now what I want to do is I want to apply the fixed range volume profile and see if it gives us anything interesting. So we begin at the beginning of the range, drag it towards the end of the range, and what we can currently see is that the price was failing to break above the value area high several times, and we broke below the value area low. Now, since we retested the value area low over here with the bearish retest and continued to the downside, we are looking at a potential successful auction. That means that there is a decent possibility that we are going to visit this liquidity pool beneath the range low. Now, I do think that there's a high possibility that we are going to visit that range low liquidity pool. Why? Because we have these equal lows over here, right, that are providing a lot of liquidity. And below those equal lows and beneath this range low area, we have this very interesting demand area for INJ as well. On the 4-hourly time frame, we can see it. On the daily, we cannot really see it. And on the 12-hourly time frame, we can see it as well. What we can see over here is that we had this previous supply candle on the 4-hourly time frame, right? That failed to hold a supply. Then we broke through it, and we have this bullish fair value gap over here on the 4-hourly time frame, exactly aligning with the POY, right? So bullish fair value gap in alignment with previous supply, it should now turn into demand, or as we can call it, a breaker block, right? So we have an interesting area of support beneath that range low area. We can also switch on the EMAs. On the 4-hourly time frame, we can see that currently we are trading beneath these EMAs, which is a bearish sign in my opinion, right? On the daily time frame, we can see that the 100 EMA is beautifully aligning beneath the range low. Now we can see that when we started this huge run up from the $7 mark over here, we have not retested that 100 EMA a single time. And we know that the 100 EMA on the daily time frame is extremely important support and resistance for altcoins. So what makes a lot of sense to me for INJ is to get a push beneath the range low liquidity pool, right, where we are going to mitigate it, where we are going to find support and then reclaim the range low. And this is our long trigger to long it towards the range high. Now we're not only going to long it towards the range high, because what we can see over here on the daily time frame is that we have an impulsive move towards the upside being followed by a potential consolidation area before further expansion towards the upside. Because this sideways movement over here might very well be reaccumulation before further expansion towards potentially $100. Because if we are going to measure the current move and we are going to start at the beginning of this impulse over here at $14, drag it towards the end of the impulse. Let's say we finish this correctional wave over here, for example, right? With a manipulation area beneath the range low. And we are going to measure our target. Our main target is the 1.618, which is already $78. Our second target, which should be the 2.618 over here, is $109. So if we are going to reach an extended target of 2.618, based on the previous impulse and correctional wave, we could well reach over $100 for one INJ. So very, very interesting. All we have to do now is patiently wait before I move into this liquidity pool over here, in which there's two ways of playing this, okay? First way of playing this is, like I said, wait for this deviation, right? In which we're going to get a push beneath the range low, go to form price action over there, right? Maybe form a lower low and a lower high, in which we have to wait for our long trigger. And our long trigger is a reclaim of that range low in confluence with a break of structure, in which we are going to switch the trend back towards the upside. If that happens, so if we get a confirmed deviation, if we get a confirmed reclaim and a confirmed break of structure, we then can identify a level to play the higher low with our invalidation beneath the local low, in which that can look something like this over here. Entry over here, stop loss beneath the local low, first target being the range high, but our extended target, like I said, being the 1.618 at first, which is already an RR of 15, and then our extended target of being $110, which is an RR of 25. Now the second way that you can play this, and this is the more risky way, and this is not the way that I am going to play this, but it's definitely a possibility, is that you are going to ladder in limit long orders beneath that range low liquidity pool, invalidation beneath that demand area, maybe a second order somewhere inside of that demand area over here, right? Same invalidation, just ladder in some limit longs and then target the range high. Now, why won't I play this trade? First of all, because the trade is lower probability. Why is the trade lower probability? Because the local trend on the 4-hourly time frame is still to the downside, right? And I want to wait for confirmation on the 4-hourly time frame that the trend is going to switch back up. Now, second of all, the RR towards our first take profit target is not as high as when we wait for that confirmation play, okay? So first of all, it's lower probability. Second of all, there's less potential profits on the table. So why would you take this impatient and higher risk trade compared to the more patient and higher probability trade? In my opinion, the answer is quite simple. I'm going to set my alerts beneath the range low. I'm going to wait for INJ to mitigate the range low liquidity pool, then wait for a reclaim with a break of structure, confirm the deviation, and I'm going to enter a long trade, potentially targeting $100 for INJ.